An emotional victory for Denny Hamlin today at Las Vegas, his second straight victory at the track, his first win of the season, and passes Kevin Harvick all-time for 10th on the all-time wins list in NASCAR with win number 61. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Talkin NASCAR. I am your host, Andrew. Hope you've had a great weekend. Just finished watching the Penzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube from Las Vegas Motorspeedway wrap up the Cup Series race today. Denny Hamlin picking up his first win of the season for JGR, getting Toyota's, I believe, their fourth win of the season in 2026 already. Three of those coming from Tyler Reddick already in the season. Now Denny Hamlin notches his first for a team that is not 2311 Racing in the Toyota camp. So big win for Denny Hamlin, gets him his first win of the season. We've got a lot to talk about from this race, so let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Let's start by talking about Joe Gibbs Racing as a team overall in this weekend for the Cup Series. I mean, got off to a great start on Saturday with Christopher Bell qualifying on the pole, and then following up with Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs qualifying in second and third, and then their fourth car, Chase Briscoe, finished qualifying down in 18th. So a great start to the weekend for Joe Gibbs Racing on the Cup Series side of things. So a very strong start to the weekend for Joe Gibbs Racing on Saturday. And then during the race, in stage one, starting with Chase Briscoe, qualified 18th wasn't necessarily the best starting spot for Chase Briscoe you would like to have, especially since Chase Briscoe had quite dug himself quite a hole already to start off the season, coming into this race deep in the points, not even in the top 30, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. So Chase Briscoe has a lot of ground to make up, but he doesn't help himself at all with any favors that he did today. In stage one, under green flag pit stop cycles, Chase Briscoe was caught speeding on pit road along with Justin Allgaier. Chase Briscoe would have to make a pass-through penalty, would fall off the lead lap, go 2 laps down, I'm pretty sure. And from then on, it was just Chase Briscoe trying to get the lucky dog, get the free pass whenever the next caution came out to get himself back on the lead lap because, excuse me, the speed in Chase Briscoe's car was undeniable. He had really good speed along with his Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. Definitely not, race winning speed, but it was definitely top 10 competition speed. Like he could definitely run with the Larsons, the Byrons, the Elliots, the Hamlins, the Bells, the Wallaces, the Reddicks of today's race. But without that track position, he just had nowhere to go. Not on the lead lap, not a whole lot he could do. And similar things happened to the rest of his Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. Both Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs also were penalized on pit road under caution after stage one ended, with Christopher Bell, their teammate, picking up the victory for the stage. Both Hamlin and Gibbs were penalized for too fast entering pit road, meaning they had to go to the tail end of the lead lap under penalty, which was a little bit more manageable now because at this point there was only about 20-ish cars on the lead lap, which meant that it wasn't the full field and it was, a little bit more manageable. It wasn't 36 cars on the lead lap that Hamlin and Gibbs had to pass to get back up to the front. And both cars had very good equipment. They had a lot of good speed under them today, under the hood. But it was clear and obvious that Denny Hamlin was able to get up to the front a lot quicker than Ty Gibbs. Gibbs didn't fully get back up to the top 5. He was very, very close, though. Gibbs had good speed today. Same with Denny Hamlin, but Hamlin was able to get back up to the front very, very quickly by the halfway point of stage 2 by the time a second pit stop cycle came around. Briscoe was also penalized again for pitting outside his stall, I believe, on the same cycle. So adding insult to injury, Chase Briscoe now had 2 penalties on the day. But still, all 3 of those JGR cars were able to find a way back up to the front. It just took them a really long time. I already mentioned it. Hamlin and Gibbs, who were sent to the tail end of the lead lap, were able to get back up into the top 10 by the end of the stage. Or at least Hamlin was able to get back up inside the top 5 by the end of stage 2. Gibbs took a little bit longer, was able to make it up the ground, up inside the top 15, nearly inside the top 10. And then Chase Briscoe, late in stage 3, got a gift. He was the first car one lap down, and we got a caution for Connor Zilisch, who spun off of turn 4 after having contact with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who was trying to come to pit road, but it looked like Connor Zilisch ran into the back of Stenhouse. Lack of communication once again. Coming to pit road, Stenhouse didn't signal out the window with his hand. Excuse me. And then his spotters did not communicate as well. The spotters of the 47 and the number 88, or excuse me, the number 88. I thought I was gonna say the 97, but that was SVG. The number 88 and number 47 spotters did not communicate, so that meant Connor Zilisch just ran straight into the back of the Ricky Stenhouse Jr. machine, the number 47 car, and that brought out actually the first caution for cause on the day, only the third caution of the day. So it was a very calm and very orderly race, but that definitely mixed up the field a little bit. So that got Chase Briscoe back on the lead lap, and that also brought everyone back down pit road. And Christopher Bell, who came onto pit road, I believe in third, managed to come off of pit road first with a good stop from his pit crew and having the number 1 pit stall, very, very key. Meanwhile, the race leader at the time, Kyle Larson, had a pretty slow stop and actually had to fall down to 8th, and he could not recover from there. Hamlin came out second behind Bell, and then followed by William Byron in third. And actually, under that same caution, we had a couple of cars pitting when the caution came out. That was Ryan Blaney and his teammate of Austin Cindric, and then the 41 of Cole Custer. And that was one of the worst things that could have happened to both of them. And both of those cars, in my opinion, had some really good speed. Blaney was running up inside the top 10 for most of the day, last week's winner. Cindric, after starting really, really rough, I believe starting in like 29th, had worked his way back up inside the top 15 at one point during this race, showed signs of really good speed, was actually outrunning Logano at this point, and Logano, coming into this race, had been a candidate for the victory. Logano, a former winner in the next-gen car at Las Vegas. Cindric has not done well here historically, but Cindric was really showing up to this race back-to-back weeks where Cindric had pretty solid speed under the hood of that number 2 Ford, but ended up getting stuck towards the back end of the lead lap with that caution. They had to take the wave around both Blaney and Austin Cindric, and they could not go forward from there. That just shows how important track position was in this race. I just mentioned Kyle Larson lost his track position, lost the lead on pit road after having that issue on pit road, fell down to 8th, and on that final little run, that little 50-lap run to the finish, Larson could not move forward at all. He was just kind of stuck in 7th place. It was crucial to have track position for anyone in this race. Blaney and Cindric could not move forward at all. Blaney was stuck just outside the top 15. Larson was stuck in 7th place. On that following restart after that caution, Christopher Bell once again lost the restart to Denny Hamlin, just like it was at the beginning of this race. Hamlin and Bell starting on the front row. Hamlin was able to surge out to that lead early, take the lead away from Bell, and at that point, Christopher Bell was playing catch-up. Bell ended up getting passed by the 9 of Chase Elliott, and Bell could not make up any more ground from there. Bell had a good car today, he really did, but track position, the dirty air, were so crucial to this race. You needed clean air on the front nose if you wanted to stay out in front. There were few cars that were able to move their way up through the field like the Joe Gibbs racing cars were. They were the only ones that truly were able to move their way up through the field, especially late in the going. And I mean, dirty air played another big, crucial factor late in the going of this race. Like with about 10 laps to go, Denny Hamlin caught 2 lap cars. It was the 51 of Cody Ware. Cody Ware was basically wrecking off of turn 2, almost spun out right in front of Hamlin, was able to save it, and then the number 10 of Ty Dillon, I believe, was also in front of Hamlin, and they did not make it easy for Denny. Actually slowed Denny up a little bit. The dirty air, excuse me, was messing with the handling of Hamlin's car, something that has been known in the next gen car as of its entire existence, and that allowed Chase Elliott, who was in second place, to slowly start creeping in. However, once Hamlin got past those 2 lap cars, Elliott now had them in front of him, and he just could not make any more ground from there. So the dirty air was a huge factor in this race. along with track position. If you lost that track position and you were stuck in dirty air, it was tough for you to go forward. And really, the only cars that were able to do that were the Fords for the most part, like Cindric and Blaney, and the Joe Gibbs racing cars like Briscoe, Gibbs, and Hamlin. So, with that being said, despite all of the adversity, the pit road penalties, the dirty air, track position issues, Denny Hamlin was still able to walk away with the victory today. Career win number 61, passing Kevin Harvick all time for number 10 on the all time wins list in NASCAR, breaking a tie at 60 wins. So now he moves into 10th place on his own, picking up win number 1 on the season, win number 4 on the year for Toyota as a manufacturer. They have their 4 wins. Ford has their 1 win from last weekend at Phoenix with Ryan Blaney, and then Chevrolet still shut out after 5 races so far. Excuse me, 6 races so far this season. So Chevrolet has had good speed, but they have not looked the same so far to start off the year. So that's something to keep an eye out potentially as we move forward throughout the rest of this season. But congratulations to Denny Hamlin on an incredible race this year. Fought through a lot of adversity on track and then off the track as well. A very emotional victory for Denny Hamlin as well. He had his whole family there. He had his mom there. He had his wife and spouse, and then he had his kids there as well. I mean, you could see the look on the faces of his kids, his girls. It was an emotional victory for them. I mean, Denny lost his father in the offseason, had a lot to go through, welcomed a new baby boy into the world last year, had to battle a lawsuit, manage another team, all the while driving for one of the best organizations in the NASCAR Cup Series. So it's been a tumultuous offseason for Denny Hamlin, but he's able to come back to Las Vegas only a couple months after winning the last race at the track back in the fall to get him into the championship 4 and then ultimately having that rough finish to the season at Phoenix, that heartbreaking finish to the year at Phoenix Raceway, losing the championship. But a very emotional victory for both Denny and his entire family. Looking at some of the results from today's race, Christopher Bell picked up the Stage 1 victory, followed by Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, who desperately needed some points, Bubba Wallace in 5th, William Byron in 6th, Ryan Preece had actually worked his way up inside the top 10, Chase Elliott in 8th, Ryan Blaney in 9th, and then Tyler Reddick down in 10th. And then Stage 2, Byron picked up the Stage 2 victory, Larson in 2nd once again, Bell and Wallace in 3rd and 4th, Hamlin and Reddick in 5th and 6th, just a string of Toyotas there. Chris Buescher in 7th actually worked his way up inside the top 10 to get some stage points. Then Ryan Preece as well in 8th. Chase Elliott in 9th, and then Austin Cindric had worked his way up inside the top 10, earning a stage point as well. And now looking at the top finishers from today's race, Chase Elliott finished in 2nd, another really strong race after a rough weekend at Phoenix in the last one. He needed a bounce back race, and he got it today. Started in 15th, but consistently was up inside the top 10 all day. Showed some signs of speed, but was just not able to close the gap enough to contend with Hamlin late in this one. William Byron, his teammate, in 3rd. Another good week after him. Really encouraging to see Byron and Chase Elliott both doing well at this traditional mile-and-a-half oval. This is what the majority of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule is going to look like going forward through the rest of the season, pretty much. So very encouraging to see Elliott and Byron have very solid runs after 2 pretty, I would honestly say, mediocre weeks for Hendrick Motorsports standards. So a podium finish for both of those cars. Bell, the pole sitter, ended up in 4th. Ty Gibbs in 5th. He needed a good day. Had a good one last weekend at Phoenix. Got another one this weekend at Las Vegas. Chris Buescher. How about Chris Buescher? I want to shout him out. Finished in 6th, started in 10th, was just kind of hovering around the 15th to 12th place area through most of this race. Earned a couple of stage points, not as many as some of the other guys, but was still able to earn some really good stage points towards the end and have a really solid finish to this one. Kyle Larson ended up in 7th. That pit stop really did hurt Kyle Larson in this one. If he did not have that pit stop issue on that last pit stop, he would have easily been a contender for this race. That speed in the number 5 car was legit today. Chase Briscoe worked himself back up inside the top 10 after being several laps down at one point in this race. Finished in 8th. Bubba Wallace in 9th. Another good, strong top 10 for Bubba. Brad Keselowski did not have a good qualifying effort to start off the weekend. 28th, but was able to work his way forward, like some of the Gibbs cars. There were some Fords in this one who started really deep in the field, but were able to work their way up to the front of the field, and Keselowski was one of them. Finished with the top 10, just didn't earn very many stage points in this one. If Keselowski could qualify just a little bit better, I think Brad Keselowski would be getting a lot more points in these races. I mean, his teammates of Preece and Buescher both qualified pretty well. Preece in 8th, who finished in 11th, and then Buescher, who finished in 6th, qualified in 10th. Meanwhile, Keselowski finished 10th, but only started in 28th. So, I mean, the speed in the number 6 car might be legit for Brad Keselowski. He just needs to qualify better. That might be the real big thing that Keselowski has to get over. That's his hurdle that he's trying to get over. So, good result for Brad Keselowski, still coming back from that broken leg injury from the offseason, but this is an encouraging sign for Brad Keselowski. How about Austin Dillon getting a 12th place finish? Kind of a quiet day. He started in 11th, but was just kind of hanging around the top 10 pretty much all day. His teammate Kyle Busch, man, the hometown kid. I guess he's not a kid anymore, but you know what I mean. Finished in 28th. This was not a good day for Kyle Busch at all. Really rough day for Kyle Busch. But RCR had at least one of their cars inside the top 15. So Dillon finishes in 12th. Tyler Reddick in 13th. I mean, he clearly wasn't the race winning car. Reddick definitely had more of a short run car in this one. It was clear from the get go. I mean, he was flying early in stage one, but then after the first like pit stop cycle of stage one, and after that initial short run, he could just not hang on as well as some of the other cars like Elliott and Byron. He was beginning to fade a little bit quicker towards the back half of the top 10. So it was clear that Reddick just did not have a long run car. And that kind of hurt him towards the end of this race. We had a little bit of a longer green flag run to the end. It was the longest run to the end, longest green flag run that we've had all race. And that clearly just hurt Tyler Reddick. So that's why he ended up in 13th. And then a couple of Fords to round out the top 15 with Zane Smith, who had a really good qualifying effort and ran up inside the top 15 pretty much all day. So it was a good day for Zane Smith. And then Joey Logano rounded out the top 15. Did not have a great day, kind of a quiet night for Joey Logano. And then his teammate of Blaney in 16th, I mentioned that he had that pit stop, had the caution come out for Connor Zilic when he was on pit road. It ended up trapping him a lap down, so he had to take the wave around, lost all his track position, and could not recover from there. Then two Trackhouse teammates of Suarez and Chastain in 18th and 17th, respectively, they actually got into it a little bit, and there was a confrontation on pit road. I think Suarez actually went up to Chastain after he got out and was kind of yelling at him, and a NASCAR official had to get between them. But yeah, I don't really know what the confrontation was all about. Hey guys, it's Andrew in post editing this one here. I ended up looking at the little report that NASCAR put out there about this confrontation. Apparently, Chastain kind of doored Suarez on the cooldown lap. Suarez gave it back to him, and that's why they had the verbal confrontation. I mean, Suarez was the only one who actually commented on it when he was asked. Chastain did not. But Suarez said that Chastain just was angry, so we don't really have Suarez's side of, or I mean, excuse me, Chastain's side of the story. We have Suarez's, and it was, you know, it doesn't sound like to me that Suarez was the instigator here. He was just, asking Chastain like, "Hey, what was that for?" I mean, the two were former teammates. They did have a run-in before back at Circuit of the Americas back in 2023. Suarez was not happy with Chastain, even though they were teammates. He kind of Suarez bumped Chastain coming on the pit road on the cooldown lap. So I mean, clearly they're gonna be racing each other as teammates then, and now when they're not teammates, it's taken to a little bit of another level. So yeah, a little bit interesting. I'm a little confused by this. Maybe we'll learn more information a little bit later. So I'll keep you guys updated on that one. Some notable names outside of the top 15 here. Carson Hocevar ended up in 22nd. It was just not a good day for Carson Hocevar. I mean, early on, though, he did look like he did have some speed. I mean, he got up towards the top 10 a little bit earlier in the race. Didn't quite get any stage points. I think he ended up having a tire failure midway through stage 3. Had to make an unscheduled pit stop due to a flat tire. At least that's what the broadcast said for Fox. So that's why Carson Hocevar was down the order a little bit. So tough day for Spire Motorsports pretty much all around, except Daniel Suarez, who had a pretty solid result there. Both McDowell and Hocevar ended up outside the top 20. Justin Allgaier filling in for Alex Bowman for Hendrick this weekend in the 48. 25th place result. I honestly thought Allgaier was going to do a little bit better, but he also got a speeding penalty that kind of set him back for the rest of the day. So yeah, I maybe should temper my expectations of Allgaier going forward when it comes to him subbing in the Cup Series, because I guess I got excited about Allgaier when he drove the 5 car at Charlotte a couple years ago, and he did pretty well. Looking at the other guys, Kyle Busch in 28th, his hometown race was not very good for Kyle Busch. 3 straight rough races at Circuit of the Americas, then Phoenix, and now Las Vegas. Oh man, I said it earlier on the show earlier this week that Kyle Busch's season already might be lost because he has not looked good outside of the super speedway races at all. He looked good at Daytona, he looked solid at Atlanta, but ever since then he has not looked good at all. So I'm hoping I'm wrong. Hoping that Kyle Busch will bounce back and maybe get a victory, but oh man, it's not looking good for Kyle Busch. And then Noah Gragson, I want to shout him out. Noah Gragson was one of the guys that was a consistent mover throughout the field. Like he was gaining spots. He was one of the fastest movers, out of anyone of the Fords. Like early on, the Fords definitely had a lot of speed. They were able to move up through the field very quickly. So I want to shout out Noah Gragson. I am a Noah Gragson fan. I do like his personality. I think it's a little bit funny. It's kind of like Carson Hocevar, but in a different way. It's polarizing like Hocevar, except he's kind of he literally acts like someone from North Carolina. I'll just say that. He's truly a Southern NASCAR Cup Series driver, if you know what I mean. Um, if not, you'll get it eventually, I hope. And besides that, Josh Berry, last year's winner from this race, ends up in 31st. Not a good day for Josh Berry. And then Shane Van Gisbergen down in 36th. I mean, SVG started this race really, really well. He qualified 16th, ended up getting up towards the top 10, ended up having a crazy save on like lap 2. Uh, Ran into the back of Chase Briscoe. SVG should have spun out. He truly should have, but ended up not spinning out and was able to hang on to it, but immediately started hemorrhaging positions, and just SVG could not work his way forward. I think he went like a lap down. He's one of the first cars to go a lap down. It was just not a good day for SVG, but I will say this. If SVG didn't have that almost spin, I think SVG could have been a top 10 car easily in this race because he was good here last year in this race before he got caught up in a crash. And he's been steadily making oval improvements, at least from the second half of last year, I think, beginning at like New Hampshire to now. He's made some improvements since then. So I would say that SVG is definitely a dark horse candidate to maybe win an oval, possibly. Like maybe going to New Hampshire, like a short track, except Martinsville. I think Martinsville is going to be very, very tough for him. But going to short tracks, I think, could be a really good opportunity for SVG because they got heavy braking. But he definitely impressed this weekend at Las Vegas. I will give him that. But had that spin earlier, or almost spin earlier. Great save, but kind of took him out of the running earlier. And then his teammate of Connor Zilic in 32nd was not a good day for the rookie. 2 kind of rough finishes for Connor Zilic at both Phoenix and this weekend at Las Vegas. But I think he'll figure it out. Connor Zilic, he won 11 O'Reilly Series races last year. Excuse me, he won 10 O'Reilly Series races last year. So I have confidence that Connor Zilic will figure it out. Probably similar to how SVG figured things out last year. Like halfway through the year, I imagine Connor Zilic will figure it out. All right, sorry for the little bit of different audio. I don't know, something was messed up with my microphone. But anyways, let's go ahead and give this race a rating. My race review rating, real quick. So, what do I think about Las Vegas? That's a good question. I thought this was a great race. Good racing overall. It's a mile and a half. Of course, the next gen car is going to immediately do really well on it, and it was a very clean race, lots of good hard racing. There was only one caution for a cause, and that was Connor Zilic on a like kind of pit road mix up with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That's been kind of becoming a common thing now at Las Vegas. I'm noticing we had one earlier in the race. It looked like Blaney kind of almost missed the entrance to pit road, kind of checked some cars up behind him. So that one was a close call there. And then we obviously had Zilic running into the back of Stenhouse supposedly because that was a weird incident. I don't know how Connor Zilic ended up spinning out there. So it was definitely a very interesting, you know, very interesting situation that's going on there off turn 4 when coming to pit road at Vegas, because we also saw William Byron run into the back of Ty Dillon last year, and that was a massive impact. So yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye out for moving forward. But good clean racing throughout the day, good hard racing, comers and goers. We saw, the same cast of characters up at the front most of the race, but for the most part, it wasn't one car that dominated the race from end to end. I mean, Bell and Hamlin kind of started out hot, and then eventually was Bell who took back over the lead from Hamlin. Then Larson and Byron, the Hendrick guys, kind of started coming back into the equation. We started seeing Chris Buescher make his way up to the front of the field. Ryan Blaney was up there as well. Heck, even Austin Cindric made his way up to the front as well. So, I mean, there were comers and goers throughout this race. It's just track position was key for this one. If you didn't have a car that didn't handle well in dirty air like the JGR cars, I'm saying that the JGR cars, handled the dirty air really, really well. So if you didn't have a car like the JGR cars who could not handle the dirty air very well, then you desperately needed track position and that clean air if you wanted to be successful. So that was definitely something that was prevalent in today's race. But for the most part, it was still a really good race from end to end, really good overall, just solid, clean racing overall. It looked like a beautiful day. It looked like a lot of fans there in the house, and we got to see an emotional victory for Hamlin. It was a good story. His whole entire family was there. It was awesome. It looked like a really, really good weekend. Lots of cool people there to, give the commands. The opening ceremonies looked really, really cool. So this was definitely a really solid race weekend. I'm going to go with a 94% for Las Vegas. That might be a little bit aggressive. I'm not sure. But it was definitely a 85% and up race for sure. Definitely at the bare minimum, a B race overall. So 94%, that's what, like an A? I thought it was really, really good. Definitely wasn't action-packed, but still delivered really, really good racing overall. So let me know down in the comments what you thought of today's race. The Penzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube from Las Vegas Motorspeedway produced great racing today. I would love to hear what you thought down in the comment section below. So I hope you enjoyed the race. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you leave a follow on the show so you never miss another episode. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Really helps out. The channel helps us grow a lot. And also go check out Talking Sports with Miles and Andrew, the other show I co-host. It's a sports podcast where we talk about baseball, basketball, football, most of the sports. I can't guarantee all of them, but you get what you come for when you hear Talking Sports with Miles and Andrew. So go check it out. I'll have the links down in the description below. March Madness is coming up, so we'll have a lot to talk about there. We just had NFL free agency, so that's going to be a hot topic moving forward. The draft is coming up in the NFL. The NBA draft is coming up very, very soon. So lots of great stuff coming up. Baseball season starting, so make sure you tune into Talking Sports with Miles and Andrew. And until then, I'll see you in the next episode. See you in the next thing that I do. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.